This season for Syracuse men's basketball kind of looks like the Adirondack Mountains. Quite a few peaks, but many more valleys. And today, after leading at halftime, it all went downhill once again as the Orange fell to Wake Forest 88-83. Well, that makes it 3 defeats in a row for the Qs, and at this point, you have to wonder how much worse it could get. We're at the point where SU could barely make the ACC tournament. With this group of players, that should not be the case. The writing is on the wall for Adrian Autry, but this group of players should be held accountable too. We saw them just give up in that final minute. You wonder how one of the winningest programs in the history of college basketball sank so low and how it can be fixed. We will try and answer that question and many more. It's Orange Press Pass, and it starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome inside our CitrusTV studios. It's time for Orange Press Pass. Nicholas Waley alongside Ben Chadwick and John Boccio. Fellas, this was a game that you felt Syracuse, they did have control, but that second half was just poor. Ben, what are your first thoughts?
I'm not sure how much really they had control for, right? Obviously things went a little bit out of hand at the end. My first thought is that this team found a new way to embarrass themselves after the last two embarrassments that they had. Against North Carolina, they embarrassed themselves from downtown. They look like my middle school team, shooting from beyond the arc.
I think even worse, probably.
Yeah, we shot about 20%. They shot less than 20%,
yeah,
so you are right about that. Against Duke, they embarrassed themselves in every which way, of course. It was against Duke. And in this game, they embarrassed themselves in the paint, letting up a team that averages one of the fewest rebounds in the ACC, the fewest rebounds in the ACC, just out-rebound them entirely inside the paint. It was flat-out embarrassing for SU.
Absolutely. And my first thought on this one, pretty simple. SU scored 83. They must have won.
Did
right?
they? Did they?
Wait. Can we just recall one more time?
Hang on.
Oh, no, they lost. Really? Is anyone surprised? I mean,
yeah.
Syracuse puts up one of its best offensive performances of the season, probably outside of Florida State, where it had 94 points. Yeah. But in the first half, this offense fired on all cylinders. And in the second half, it wasn't totally bad. But what it didn't help is that the defense just went down the drain. So, yeah, that brought us to the current result. Not ideal.
And the thing is, it's surprising that this is a Syracuse defense that at the start of the year was actually in the top 2 or 3 for scoring defense, and everything seems so positive. And like John mentioned, 83 points is pretty impressive, but giving up 88 doesn't help. Let's see what happened down in Winston-Salem between Syracuse and Wake Forest. It's the 16th time that these two have faced off, and both teams coming off of back-to-back defeats. And it was the Orange who got things going early. Donnie Freeman, who we criticized on Q's Countdown for just being absent, just being in single digits over the last few games, and he started well.
Yeah, we're going to get to him later. He had his moments in this game, trust me. But no, he looked like a 5-star at times out there, for sure.
Finally back to a 20-plus performance.
Yeah, him and Nate Kings were everything for Syracuse in that opening 20 minutes, 29 points combined. Nate Kings is another player that is a bit streaky for Syracuse, but when he's on it, he is on it. And then Tyler Betsy as well, who comes into the game. He puts up a couple threes and a nice dunk from Sadiq White, who had a decent day as well. Wake Forest, however, wasn't going away. Syracuse only had a 4-point lead at the break following yet another Nate Kings 3. Like I said, 46-42. At halftime, you felt that the momentum was with the Orange, but then it became the Miles Colvin show. Look, big deep 3 from the junior transfer from Purdue. He had 32 points on the day and made 7 straight 3-pointers, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Miles Colvin was all over the place tonight, and I mean, his 3-point shooting was out of this world.
And Sadiq White did show off his physical capabilities. Another one of those players you expected more from this season for Syracuse, but that 3 from Duke Harris was the first lead for Wake Forest. Syracuse led for over 28 minutes, and then once the Demon Deacons took the lead, they did not relinquish it. Final score, 88-83 for the Demon Deacons. A 3rd straight defeat for Syracuse, and this one arguably is the most disappointing because you come off the game against Duke, who look like the #1 team in the nation right now. UNC, another team that maybe could have been a bit better, but still, this was a game that Syracuse at least had to win to show a little bit of promise.
On Orange Press Passes a few weeks ago, when you would preview the schedule going forward, obviously it was, all right, they're going to lose to North Carolina, they're going to lose to Duke, but Wake Forest, that's a team they got to beat, and they didn't do it today.
No, nowhere near that. And a 5-point game does not tell the story of how this one fell towards the end. Yeah. Syracuse showed no urgency, no life on the glass, and it showed tonight.
Well, we're lucky enough now to be joined by our CitrusTV reporter from Winston-Salem. Hello, Gino Antimarino. I hope you at least enjoyed some of that game. It certainly didn't end. It was a good first half, like we mentioned, but that second half, it just completely just fell apart. What, from your perspective, being right there courtside, what went wrong for the Orange?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Nick, and I think that's been the biggest question for Syracuse this season, right? I mean, Adam Hipsky for CitrusTV asked me before the game, Syracuse, now with this game against Wake Forest, they've lost their last 6 road contests, and he asked me, what's the recipe for success there? And head coach Adrian Autry put it flat out in the press conference. It's toughness. We have to be tougher. And when I say we, I mean Syracuse. The Orange in that second half, they just completely fell apart. This was a Syracuse team in the first half, knocked down 10 of 18. 10 of 18. That is beyond my imagination for a Syracuse men's basketball team this season. They go into the second half thinking they are going to play the exact same way they played in the first half. And Wake Forest, they responded, right? Head coach for the Demon Deacons, Steve Forbes, he said, we game plan. We changed the way we played defense in that second half. We were closing out on the perimeter quicker. We were not allowing J.J. Starling to drive downhill and kick out to the shooters from beyond the arc. And that was the biggest difference. Syracuse goes into the second half not game planning with the same game plan, and they come out flat-footed. And especially in the second half on the road, you have to be tougher.
Gino, you mentioned that post-game press conference where the coaches of both sides were talking. Obviously, we watched the game. You watched the game from inside the stadium. Syracuse lost on the court. They were defeated. But just how defeated was Coach Autry in that post-game press conference?
Yeah, I mean, Ben, he was really defeated. I mean, this was a guy that you can really tell has felt left out to dry with the Syracuse team, to put it flat out. He said, this team is just pretty much, this team is not tough, and they're not built for the moment. He said, I don't care what level of basketball it is, you have to be tough. And I mentioned it earlier, but this is a guy that has faced a ton of hatred, to put it flat out, in this Syracuse men's basketball program. Everything that has went wrong for Syracuse, it has been Adrian Autry that has been the scapegoat for it all. And he said, listen, there's only so many rebounding drills I can do. Wake Forest, by the way, the worst rebounding team in the ACC, Wake Forest out-rebounded Syracuse today. So it's things like that. You can't teach effort. You can't teach energy. And Adrian Autry was really stressing that in the post-game presser. He said, I take a lot of the responsibility, and I certainly will, and I won't complain about it. But at the end of the day, essentially the players have to be held responsible as well, because they have to go out and execute.
Yeah, Gino, I mean, it was clear that the execution was nowhere near there today. You talk about how frustrated and disappointed Autry was for the most part. I want to know, what was it like on the sidelines for Syracuse throughout this game? What was the body language like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the same thing all season long, and it goes with the answers I just gave. Syracuse in the first half looked great. They were high fives all around. Everyone was ready to go. The coaches were up and ready. Donnie Freeman went 3 for 5 from beyond the arc in the first half. He looked great. I mean, Syracuse had 4 players finish in double digits today in scoring, but it's the second half. That's when things really fell apart, and you can tell that the body language that you talked about, John, really just dwindled. And on the road like that, you can't afford for the body language to give away. You have to remain strong, and that goes back to the toughness that head coach Adrian Autry talked about. And Sadiq White said after the game that everyone's frustrated, and it's clear this is a team that doesn't have a ton of answers, and with 2 games left until the ACC tournament, if they make the ACC tournament now that things have gotten a little bit interesting, this is a team that's got to clean up on a lot of those mistakes.
Gino, thank you so much, my friend. Safe travels home. Amazing work. When we come back here on Orange Press Pass, we'll dive deeper into this game between Syracuse and Wake Forest. Where did it all go wrong for the Orange? We'll have the answers after the break. Welcome back to Orange Press Pass. Nicholas Waley alongside Ben Chadwick and John Boccio to break down Syracuse's defeat to Wake Forest by 88-83. But first, before we get to that, let's see what's going on around the country in the NCAA, because we're at that point of the year, just about 2 regular season games to go. And we talked about this off camera a little earlier, but just the top 2 or 3 in the country, the likes of U of A, just dominating the rest of college basketball.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, it's February 28th. We are a day away from the month of March. We all know what that means for college basketball. We're already seeing some fun games like these unravel. We're talking about Arizona, you mentioned beating up on Kansas. How about Iowa State? What is that team? Are they really a top 5 team in the country? I don't know.
Ben, Iowa State makes me question themselves every single day.
Yeah.
Texas Tech is a solid team, but just lost its best player, JT Toppin, to a torn ACL, and now you at home fall to the Red Raiders. It's confusing to me. Also, UConn only beating Seton Hall by 4. Dan Hurley's squad has not looked great recently.
And the Big 12 and Big East certainly creating some question marks. In the ACC, we have seen also a little bit of movement. Clemson upset number 24 Louisville, Syracuse's next opponent. What do you guys see there?
Man, if you don't think Duke is going to win it all, you are flat out wrong. I mean, look at this. They beat the absolute crap out of Duke, out of Virginia, I meant. I mean, my goodness, number 1 and number 11, that's a top 15 matchup, and Duke just did not care whatsoever.
I mean, with the way Notre Dame played tonight, it looks like they're going to win it all. 96-90 over NC State. NC State is a very quality ACC team, and the Fighting Irish have been the bottom feeders of the conference for quite some time now. But it goes out today and puts up nearly 100 with only 1 extra frame.
Well, a team that is now arguably a bottom feeder in the ACC, unfortunately, is Syracuse, particularly after that second half against Wake Forest. And that's where it all really went wrong. It was the collapse. This Syracuse team led by 4 at halftime, and then were outscored by 9 in the second half. So, Ben, the same question I asked Gino earlier on, where did it go wrong in that second half?
I mean, we just see it time and time and time again, right? This Syracuse team shows its fans and its players and its coaches flashes of, hey, we are a good team. This is a team that can go into the ACC tournament, maybe March Madness, and really put up a fight. And then the second half comes around and you're wondering, is this team even a Power 5 conference worthy team? I mean, my goodness, the stark contrast between first half and second half in nearly every game this season is just flat out embarrassing for the Orange. You mentioned it. That second half just fell apart for SU. And once again, they lose another game because of their second half struggles.
The defensive end was just so poor in the second half, allowed Wake to shoot nearly 60% from the field and almost the same mark from deep, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. And obviously the offense didn't look quite as good in the second half, but it was really the defensive end that stuck out to me. But even so, you still see lack of team ball, shooting it worse from long range, which is the same story that we've seen every single season. Outdone on the glass, the turnover, everything was just sloppy in the final 20 minutes.
And particularly on the glass is where was arguably the biggest surprise, because this is a Wake Forest team that, no other way to look at it, they were ranked 297th in the country in rebounds per game, not just the worst in the ACC, one of the worst in the country. I mean, Ben, the fact that Syracuse was out-rebounded in this game is inexcusable.
Wake Forest doubled up on them, right, with the rebound category. And you mentioned they're a bottom 80 mark as well in the country, dead last in the ACC. And Syracuse, I wouldn't say prides themselves on the rebounding in the paint, but you have a guy like William Kyle who's averaging close to 10 rebounds a game.
They can at least grab a few.
Exactly. He's a guy you would want to count on in this game, and you just could not. He was non-existent in the paint, and so was the entire Syracuse team. Rebounding, I mean, it's a fundamental facet of the game, right? If you're going to get doubled up in that category, you are never going to win a basketball game, especially in the ACC.
Second half was 16-8 in favor of Wake Forest on the boards. That's downright embarrassing, especially when you have Will Kyle, who, reminder, just 1 rebound today.
Yep.
One singular board.
The center for Syracuse University.
Yes, the center for Syracuse basketball had 1 rebound, and he's like, I think they're 7. If I had to restate.
We've been told through the grapevine.
Yeah, the thing about William Kyle as well is that he put up 0 shots, 0 field goals, like you mentioned, 1 rebound, had 3 points, all from the free throw line of all places for William Kyle. Points in the paint were just a disaster today overall. Wake Forest 46 to Syracuse's 20. Just how was Syracuse outmuscled so much when you have players like William Kyle, who's been getting nods to make it to the NBA draft.
We talked to Gino earlier, right? We talked about toughness. When it comes to toughness, the one place that really shines through is in the paint. And if we're going to really believe Coach Autry in that post-game press conference, which he said he was telling us the truth, then yes, toughness is the reason why Syracuse just could not get anything going inside the paint. It was truly unbelievable, John. Look, they made their threes in that first half. Don't get me wrong. And if that's going to be your calling card for the game, by all means. In the second half, the threes weren't falling at the same velocity. That's when you go into these safer shots inside the paint. They did not. They kept chucking up threes. They kept dwindling their lead away, and eventually they lost the lead and never regained it.
Absolutely. And Gino did mention it in his answer earlier on, Ben. Autry had glossed over the fact that we could do all the rebounding drills in the world. We could practice it as much as possible. But exactly what Coach Autry said was it is just a matter of how much you want it. And, well, it didn't seem like Syracuse wanted it very much at all tonight.
Well, going into the game tonight, you wouldn't be mistaken to think that Duke Harris would have been a shoo-in for our OPP player of the game. And while the sophomore did continue his double-digit point streak with 13 today, it was junior Miles Colvin who stole the show. 32 points, 7 for 8 from 3, and perfect from the free throw line after 0 points against Boston College this week. That was the Oxford Dictionary definition of a bounce-back game. If Colvin can be that second option for Wake down the stretch, the Deeks could make some noise in the ACC tournament. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. But still to come on Orange Press Pass, Ben and John will dive deeper into what went wrong for Syracuse today, and we'll look ahead to the rest of the regular season and the postseason as well. Don't go anywhere.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Orange Press Pass. Nicholas Waley with you. Ben Chadwick and John Boccio got very busy after the final whistle between Syracuse and Wake because they went to work in the film room, ready to break down some plays for you.
And you take a look at this replay angle right here. Gill's got a wide open lane to the end zone.
Welcome into the Orange Press Pass film room, breaking down what was, yet another tough loss for Syracuse men's basketball. I want to take a look at a couple of Syracuse men's basketball plays specifically from this game. You have another offensive possession for the Orange, and we'll play it right here. Hero ball has been the calling card for Syracuse this year. Do they have enough talent to play hero ball every offensive possession? No, they do not. Look at that shot clock. It's ticking down. Let's just keep running around. We'll set screens wherever we feel like there should be, and we'll get a quick pass over here. And how about Sadiq White? Can he do anything? 5 seconds left now, folks. Donnie Freeman. We got to get a shot up, right? We got to get a shot up, right? We're going to get a shot up, right? What are we doing? The hero ball has become outrageous. This team does not run plays on offense. Look at this. There's 2 seconds left. He has no idea. They're so focused on themselves and on their own shot making that they have no idea how much time is left in the shot clock. An embarrassment on all fronts. But hey, they're tough, right? That's what Coach Autry talked about after the game.
But you got to be tough, and you got to be able to play both ends of the floor in college basketball. In basketball, period. And we're just not doing that consistently.
They weren't consistent, and that was absolutely the calling card. Let's check out one more play from this game as well while we're over here. You have Wake Forest on the offensive side of the ball. They got 10 seconds of shot clock. Let's see if they can get a shot off. You drive to the lane, kind of a tough layup. No one's there for the rebound. You get a quick out. Where's the defense? Let's stop it right here. I want to stop it right there. What is going on with this defense, folks? You have 2 players on a man who no longer has the ball. You have the other 3 defenders all the way on the other side of the court where these 2 guys are not. 2 wide open offensive players. We'll resume it right here. I mean, we can all assume what's going to happen. He's going to take the 3? No, he's going to give it to the wide open man, J.J. Starling. He's not known for his defense. He showcased that right there. My goodness. Defensively, disaster class. We all know that. But offensively, they had their lapses as well. John, how did Wake do?
Well, welcome into this side of the film room, guys. Grab your popcorn, take your seats, because this one might be a little long. Ben Chadwick on the other side was just talking about how poor Syracuse played in this game. Well, we'll start it with a little mix of both. Syracuse playing bad, Wake playing good. Well, that's kind of up to your interpretation. I'll try to be as Coach Autry-like as possible here. Guys, we're down low. Donnie Freeman's there. What are we doing? Donnie Freeman just loses the ball. Wake Forest goes right back up the court. Donnie Freeman had no idea what he was going on that play. Loses the ball like a clown riding up. And just like that, Wake on the left wing. It just doesn't get more simple than this, guys. An easy pick and roll. Spiller's on the other end. King gets bumped. Easy entry pass inside. Lefty layup. Dunk. Rather, layup. Yeah. Is there anything else you want me to say? Is there anything else you want me to say? I don't think there is. I don't think there is. But we could show you one more play just to really put the nail in the coffin here, guys. So this one's more Wake-centric here, but let's see it. Yep. Oh, you missed the layup. It's fine. Just grab your own rebound, kick out. Best three-point shooter on the team. He can knock that down anytime. So, yeah, no, that's totally fine. We'll see it one more time. Really just to hammer it home. Oh, airballs the layup. No problem. Grab your own miss. And there's Miles Colvin, who, by the way, again, 32 points tonight. Yeah. Who needs to contest that shot at all? No reason to try and go out there and get a contest on it. So, I mean, I guess that's your film room for the night. If you learned anything, I probably didn't tell you anything new other than what you already know about this Syracuse team. Nick's on the other side. He's got even more for you on the moment of the game.
John's absolutely right. If we've already nailed the coffin shut at least 3 times, well, let's just do it a 4th time, because this is our OPP moment of the game. It was in the second half, and it was the moment when Wake Forest took the lead for the final time and didn't give it up. You take a look at here on the offensive rebound. Incredibly, that was kept in. Omaha did unbelievably well to keep that inbounds, and it was dished out beautifully to Miles Colvin. Hits the 3. Syracuse then didn't score on the next possession, and then you give it to the best player on the team, Duke Harris, from 3. Then Wake Forest took the lead, didn't give it up, and that was the moment that Syracuse started to really tumble. When we come back, still a lot more to come on OPP. It's time for Ben and John to sound off very soon. Coming up after the break.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Wrapping up shop here on Orange Press Pass, Nicholas Waley alongside Ben Chadwick and John Boccio. Fellas, we are towards the business end of the regular season. Let's take a look at what's next for Syracuse. Only 2 games to go, and that first one coming up on Tuesday isn't an easy one. Number 24 Louisville.
Yeah, what's next is a loss for Syracuse. I mentioned how before on previous Orange press passes they looked at the future schedule and said, oh, they got North Carolina and Duke. Those are 2 losses. But let's look at that next game because that's what we want to talk about. That Louisville game is a loss down in Louisville, right? No one's contesting that. That Pitt game could be quite important on the seeding in the ACC tournament, but man, I mean, after watching this game, like, what are we even watching anymore, John?
Guys, I'm so excited to watch the ACC tournament. I can't wait for it. And when Syracuse plays Pittsburgh for the last spot in the ACC, I mean, that is just going to be the most electric game that I've watched all season.
Isn't it?
I cannot wait.
Won't it be?
It is such an exhilarating time.
Well, if you can't tell by the sarcasm of both Ben and John, those two certainly have a little bit to talk about, just a little bit on their minds, because it's time for them to sound off.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both know that Coach Adrian Autry will no longer be the coach of Syracuse within the next few weeks, right? We all get that. But today, he came to terms with that too. We saw his post-game press conference earlier in the show. That is a coach who is simply done in every way possible. All season long, we've gotten coach speak after coach speak about how tough this team can be, how much fight they have, blah, 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 blah. I mean, who cares at that point? Today, he literally said that he's going to give it to us straight for the first time all year long. No sugarcoating. And he did. It felt like the first time we heard Adrian Autry's honest answers and not Coach Autry's media-trained responses. All of the values he tried to instill in these players was never executed. Today, he finally came to terms with that and just plain gave up. Can you blame him for doing so? I won't. Whether it's the players, the coaching, or both, this team is flat out pathetic and an embarrassment to Syracuse. This was a match made in hell, and the matchmaking search has already begun.
Yeah, guys, I have one word for you. Shocker, right? Syracuse marched down to Winston-Salem, fresh off back-to-back beatdowns from Duke and North Carolina, with no chip on its shoulder, and lost in embarrassing fashion. The second half featured no urgency, no intensity, and not a lick of will to win. But guess what? Is anyone surprised at this point? We all regurgitate the same storylines, show in and show out, because this team hasn't changed in the slightest. ACC play has treated Syracuse fans to the same exact downfalls every single night. And I, along with anyone who watches SU, am nowhere near surprised to see how this loss shook out. It's laughable, it's embarrassing, and I am shaking in my boots for it to be over, because this is not only boring, this is unwatchable.
Well, this is the point of Orange Press Pass where I say, oh, at least we've got Syracuse men's lacrosse coming up, but they're a team coming off of 2 straight defeats and another test against a number 19 team in UPenn. This will be the next OPP 3 o'clock show tomorrow. Our OPP crew have been absolutely outstanding this year, have been working non-stop. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for that one. Should be an interesting one, fellas. At least men's lacrosse, there's a little bit of hope. Still a long season ahead for them.
Yeah, but they're still playing outside. It'll no longer be in the month of February. We all know how bad Syracuse men's lacrosse is outside in the month of February. That's an ESPN stat if I've ever heard it, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, and this is a UPenn team that's number 19 in the country. You should expect Syracuse to win it. People expected Syracuse to beat Princeton just yesterday, in fact. They didn't, so we'll see what happens.
I honestly think Syracuse goes to Philly and beats down on Penn. I really see that being the outcome, and then everybody's going to be up in arms of, oh, we were too surprised. No, we weren't.
It certainly will be an interesting one. 3 straight days of OPP. We're halfway through it, so make sure to tune in tomorrow. For Ben Chadwick, for John Boccio, and for our entire OPP crew, I'm Nicholas Waley. Thank you so much for joining in.